Hey, how's it going, guys? Today we have a special guest, one of my really good friends, Natali. He's a practicing lawyer, coach, BJJ practitioner, and MMA practitioner. How's it going, Tali?
It's going well. Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, so how's everything going with you, my brother?
Pretty good, man. Just like everybody else, sick and tired of COVID, ready to get back to life. It's great seeing things open up, having fun.
You know, COVID is over with.
I
We're
mean,
not worried about COVID anymore. We're worried
no,
about the war.
definitely. I mean, I was.
A new pro, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the problems
Isn't
just
that
graduate into something else.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
How like everybody just forgot. No one talks about it anymore. Now we're just on to
That's
the
a
next
fact. I wish people didn't have short-term memories like that. I wish sometimes people will hold some people accountable. Like, you said we had to do this. Matter of fact, that all was wrong. What's going on here? Just asking the question is good. But we talking about the Ukraine and Russia situation right now, which is horrible. But I mean, we still didn't get over what just happened for 2.5 years. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just musical chairs right away.
thing. But I mean, like, how did we even get into this whole thing? It just seemed like it happened out of nowhere.
The Ukraine and Russia situation.
Yeah.
I think it's from weak leadership, honestly, because when you have a person that's like doing bad, like when you have a person that's failing
Yeah.
at their position, other people that's like, I'm gonna use like a slang term, the ops, right?
Yeah.
The other people that's the ops, they're gonna see that weakness and they're gonna capitalize on it.
Sure.
So that I feel like that's what's going on. We see like that Afghanistan debacle,
Yeah.
which we left billions of dollars in equipment. They said, "Oh, these motherfuckers is inept. Kill switch engage. We about to go crazy." So that's what I think is going on. But I mean,
But it's crazy
blame
to
them?
see that like one person or that person's administration, and then all of a sudden, all of this can happen to an entire country just from one person's lack of leadership ability.
I feel like America is the bully on the block that keep people in check. So if you got the bully on the block, but he kind of soft or he's kind of slow, let me rephrase that because I don't want to just make light of this situation.
Yeah.
I feel like America, it keeps a lot of people in a lot of countries in check, right?
Okay.
Where they can't do certain moves and maneuvers that they'd like to do. If you have a willing and able leader in position.
Yeah.
So now we don't really have a leader per se. We have a figurehead, but we don't have a leader. So we got this figurehead in place that's obviously weak. So you got a lot of people crawling out of the woodwork, a lot of countries crawling out of the woodwork, doing some devilish, dastardly shit.
We've been on top for so long, man, that we forgot that there's other countries in the world, right? They're not just going to sit back and be like, all right, America is going to be number one.
Exactly.
They want that number one spot.
Exactly. So being a leader is a burden.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for that burden,
Yeah.
you need to sit your ass down because this ain't nothing for the faint of heart. If you thinking you're going to be a leader just because you look a certain way
Yeah.
or you a certain gender or you appease to a certain group, if you don't have it here and you don't have it here, you're not equipped to do that because you got millions upon millions of lives on the line at any given time with any decision that you make, you know? So that's just important that you got to understand the magnitude of what it is to be a leader of the free world.
I mean, leadership is so important, and it must be why early on in American history and up until, middle of the 20th century, a lot of our presidents, a lot of our leaders, senators, congressmen were ex-military, generals, Eisenhower, so forth and so forth like that. But now it just seems that we don't elect leaders anymore per se. It's like a popularity contest. It's weird. It's like we're putting someone in charge, someone who we want to lead us, someone who we aspire to be, someone we look up to, someone we can say, I'm happy to be an American. He or she is expressing that American value, and I'm happy that person's president, and I feel comfortable and I feel safe. I don't think many people in the United States today are actually feel that way.
That's why so much anxiety, because this is the only time where a lot of people feel like they all bet. I'm sure that a lot of the American people, the people with their ear to the ground, feel like all bets are off at this particular point in time, which we never experienced that as Americans in our short lifespan. I'm talking about like maybe from the late 1980s up until almost now. We haven't experienced, well, exception to 9/11. But I mean, we haven't expected or felt that situation where all bets are off. So we kind of feel, I'm sure people feel that way now with who we have in the leadership position.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can do a better job. I don't know.
Man, KO's Codie for president, huh?
Dun, 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 dun. That's wedding, right? No, that's the wedding song, right?
I have no idea what song you're trying to say.
Dun, 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 dun. No, that's
the
wedding.
presidential
Yeah.
song? Okay.
Come on, bro. I could do a better job than that. Right.
I don't know, but do you know until you're in the position and it's like,
Until you're
here
in
you
the
go,
position.
they give you the book, and you're like, oh, shit.
Shit, it's 1,000 and how much pages? Shit, my show is on. Let me. Nah, but yeah, I mean, that situation in Afghanistan, I think that's what kind of brought us to this Russia and Ukraine position.
Yeah.
Because you just can't show weakness like that.
Yeah.
You can't show in business. You can't show weakness like that. In MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, you can't show weakness like that. And on the world stage, which the president is on the world stage, you can't show weakness like that. So that's just what it is as far as that situation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a trickle-down effect, because when you got a strong leader, the people feel more, like you just said, like what you just said.
Yeah.
A person that has a strong leader in place, or that's going to look out and keep them protected,
Sure.
they feel more secure. So that's just what it is.
Do you feel like this is like the chicken or the egg effect? Like, what came first? Did our society become weaker and we elected weaker leaders? Or because we have weak leaders, our society is getting weaker? Which way do you think it goes?
I think it's the social programming of the males and the females in our society. That is the social programming. So we don't let men be aggressive in this world. We don't let men be aggressive. Aggressive is a dangerous or like a bad word. But that's what actually drives a lot of successful people.
Sure.
Their aggression, their desire, their will, right?
Yes.
Life is a fight. You don't have to necessarily punch anybody or fight it or kick anybody, but you can fight for what you want. Maybe you fighting for a position at your workplace. Maybe you fighting for a position. Maybe you fighting for your rights.
Yeah.
So I feel like they just took the aggression and a lot of the motivating factors out of men.
Well, it's because, this whole war on masculinity, I think there's some aspects of masculinity, byproducts that come from aggression, from testosterone that, are bad, from its nature, right? Men are more violent. Men are more aggressive, like you said. That can lead to more crime. That can lead to domestic violence. That can lead to other things. But the idea that because of that, we need to eliminate it completely, it's insane. Because like you said, you're eliminating some of the amazing things that come out of masculinity. Stability, security, perseverance, being able to get through hard times, being able to lead your tribe, your group, your community, to provide, to build, to, just, the list goes on. And I think that we're going down a wrong path here.
What they do, they create these buzzwords. So you got a thing called toxic masculinity. I'm sure everybody heard of it.
Sure.
This word does not exist. It's a created word and a created phrase. So when we start creating words to kind of like destroy ideas and try to, what is masculinity? You being a father.
Yeah.
What is masculinity to you?
Masculinity is being there, security for my daughter, supportive, being a leader in my family, not, not bullying or pushing anyone around or being aggressive towards my family or making any type of violent atmosphere, but being that strong figure. So my daughter can look up to that. She can feel safe, so then she could flourish, right? To be there to catch her, but not to coddle her, right?
You.
To allow her to explore, let her fall down, let her have boo-boos, stuff like that, but not hovering over her. I think masculinity for me is support, being that silent, strong support in the family. And I don't think...
Do you feel like sometimes it's the voice of reason?
100%. There's logic that comes through it. Sometimes it's decision making. There's studies that say testosterone help you with cognitive decision making, risk taking. Sometimes risks need to be taken in order to get ahead. Sometimes it's, the road less traveled, and that risk taking that testosterone helps with, is kind of what drove a lot of success
of civilizations, of societies. Because at the end of the day, you in a field sitting down, right?
Yeah.
With your family, your tribe, or whatever.
Yeah.
What's really gonna push you and urge you to go out there and venture out into the wilderness and try to come out of that goddamn whatever? Maybe you sleeping on a hut or a cot, right? To say, damn, I kind of want a little bit more for myself.
Sure.
Maybe I want 4 walls around myself. What's going to make you go out there, venture and hunt and at the end of the day, we kind of like divine animals, so to speak. We can speak, we can communicate, we can
like
actually...
that term.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we are. Because we have all the type of animalistic urges that a monkey or an animal would have.
Yeah.
But we also have voice of reason. And we also can come to terms. So I feel like we're kind of divine in that sense, because you could choose to be this way or you could choose to be that way. So with that being said, masculinity is not without its faults.
Yeah.
It leads to war, conquer, violence. But at the end of the day, a lot of these things brought us to where we are now, where we can actually be civilized. So I feel like that they just getting rid of this. They getting rid of masculinity and saying it's toxic, and you don't even realize. You step into a room, you turn the light switch on, you turn on the television, and you talking about toxic masculinity. Everything you using is created almost by a male. We're not gonna say that women haven't created anything,
No,
but
they created males.
Exactly, which is beautiful. Which is beautiful, right? That's the most precious part of the world, bringing in life at the end of the day. So we can't act like that isn't a monumental accomplishment. That's the most important accomplishment that you can make as a person, given life.
Yeah.
So like, we gotta stop bashing these terms, I feel like, and start re-educating the youth on what it is to be who you are, whoever you choose to be, so to speak.
Yeah. They aggression, testosterone, being a male, masculinity, like I said, has its bad byproducts that come from it, but that can be controlled, right? Like you said, we're divine animals. Mm-hmm. We're not just animals. We're not going to just allow it to completely run us. And I think that's the problem, though. I think sometimes there's individuals who are males that allow that to control them instead of them.
Correct.
It's like having a superpower, right?
Yeah.
Like you're a mutant with a superpower, and you allow that superpower to rule you, and you can use it for good, you can use it for bad.
We all have that power to do good, but evil is the absence of good.
Sure.
It's just not being good. So we all have that type of power.
Perfect. But look, not to cut you off, a perfect example. You're a fighter, right? I've trained mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Are we going out and beating people up on the street? But that's like the stigma, right? It's like, oh, you're an MMA fighter. Oh, you know, you're probably going out beating people up and this and that. You're in bars. But guess what? Those people aren't the people doing that.
They have more self-control than anybody.
Because they learn how to control that aggression and I feel like those are the most masculine people, right? I mean, they've understood what masculinity is and the benefits that it has. Look what it's driven you to do.
Changed my life. I mean, I'm so happy that I found combat sports and martial arts because I come from a good home.
Sure.
But I'm not going to say but. I love my family. But what I'm saying is, like, I didn't have that type of trial process where I could just, like, as a man go through those trials and tribulations where I could really do something that has a lot of adversity in my life. And I feel like MMA, mixed martial arts and all of that, it kind of put that in my life where it's like, I can put things into perspective, you know, and see how things are going. And also I can be my own individual because I know I can fend for myself and I have power within me. That's why I feel like a lot of the young males, they don't do anything that's going to drive them to persevere past anything other than the video game. You know what I'm saying? Which I love video games too.
Sure.
But the young males, they're not doing anything that's going to help them persevere and go past that threshold. Because you got to, the generation where we going right now, we kind of devolving. Motherfucking Alexander the Great, what he did, he conquered half of the known world at what, 32?
Less than that.
Less than that, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we got to realize how much power we have within ourselves and not just worry about what the next person have, what they have on, or how they sound, how they look. The power is within, and we always can harness that if we really true to ourselves and listen to that inner voice. That's what I feel. That's how I feel that fighting has helped me personally. Because whatever I want to do, I say, shit, I really want to do this, man. I don't care if people are going to laugh at me. I'm going to just try this. And there's power in that because everybody has something that they're special at or they have something that they're really passionate about. Whatever you're passionate about and you go towards, you will be successful if you just go at it wholeheartedly. And if you're not, if you're not as successful as the next person, you still have that journey, So, I mean, I know you for a long time, and I've known you before you were working in your field. Actually, graduating and getting into your field, what was that like for you?
Well, I got to say that MMA helped with that.
Yeah, how so?
Because, when you're on your back, someone's on top of you, punching you in the face, and you got one, it's simulated death, right? Someone's choking you to death. Literally, if you don't tap and that person just says, fuck it, I'm not letting go, you're dying. How crazy is that? Isn't that nuts that, we willingly did something where we're this close to death every time? Though. No, it's definitely fun, but
it's fun.
I think there's something to be said when you're that close to it. Right? That's why, like, Navy SEAL training tries to emulate that. Like a lot of like military training tries to emulate that, and I think that's what helps. Simulating
like almost close to death.
Yeah, I feel like unlocks a new level for people.
It does. I mean, I had some crazy fights where, like, I don't know, my last fight I had, it was so crazy. I just was like so free. I'm a little older now. I've been fighting for a while. So when I was younger, I was free. I just did not care. I I don't care what's gonna happen out there.
Sure.
I'm gonna just knock the guy out. I don't care. But as I got older, I start getting more play it more safe, and start seeing a risk and a reward factor and being more smarter. That just comes with age. But my last fight, I was so free because I haven't fought for a long time because of COVID-19. In my last fight, I fought and I just felt so like I don't even care. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna go out there and just put on the best performance. I really was saying I'm gonna knock the guy out and fuck him up. But I was just saying, yo, I don't care what happens. This COVID shit and all that, I don't care. It is what it is. It's like I'm on a cliff, you know, just dancing. It is what it is. And that was like, I just felt so free at that point. Felt like I was my true self.
But yeah, that adversity, going through that, the discipline of training, the camaraderie of training, being able to go to someone else, rely on them to help you teaching them to help them. You know, the long hours that you have to put in to get better at something, the discipline that goes in with that. If you got to diet, you got to cut weight, you got to drill the most monotonous techniques over and over and over. The physical capacity that you put into something, and like I said, that just overcoming that extreme adversity. If you've been in a position where you're literally just trying to combat not dying, when you have a paper due, it really does in perspective.
Put things in perspective.
It doesn't seem like that much. So then you don't put so much stress on it, right? I think that's the problem. People have anxiety because they make this mountain for themselves to try to, that makes it harder for them an obstacle for them not to be able to get over.
You think that they be forcing the people in a certain direction of like depression and just anxiety-ridden existence?
We can definitely talk about that. Absolutely. The problem is that the system now, as far as like school is concerned, it's all anxiety, right? I don't know about you, but my experience in high school was like, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college, right? And there's all this pressure to go into college. And then it's like, okay, you need to build your resume to go to college. Build your resume? I'm a teenager. I'm supposed to be, having fun, socializing, learning things. But no, you have to have all these extracurricular activities to put on this resume so you can put it onto your applications. And it's just getting harder and harder and harder because we're playing a game of leapfrog, generation to generation. It's getting harder and harder for kids nowadays. So it's like, oh, if I don't get into this college, I'm not gonna be able to get into this law school, this medical school. I'm not gonna be able to buy that house. Like, and there's all these preconceived expectations of our youth. This whole like push, college, and there's a lot of people that don't want to go into college.
Yeah, so you feel like, obviously. You feel like college is just like a huge business? Like maybe they brainwashing the kids a little bit?
It's definitely far exceeded what it's ever supposed to be. I don't know. I mean,
I feel like it's farming, honestly. I feel like college...
Well, it's a business.
I feel like it's indoctrination at this particular point. You know what I mean? I hear from people that they tilt a certain way.
Yeah.
Maybe in voting, like they feel maybe they tilt a certain way, and they are kind of ostracized in the college environment, which is like, yo, you're not even teaching people to be the individual that they can be. So you forcing you kind of like strong arming them to believe a certain way, which is totally wrong and against American values.
Well, you got to understand what the original purpose of, let's say colleges in the United States, right? The original purpose. It wasn't for poor or blue collar people. I mean, blue collar people really didn't exist. Maybe merchants, tradesmen, whatever. It was more for like rich people, right? And the thing with that is that kid, that son, that daughter, whatever, let's keep to the son, right? So that son was just basically going to take on his father's business. It was always going to happen. He didn't have to go to school in order to succeed in life because he was just going to take on the business.
We talking about small businesses now.
Well, I'm talking.
No.
I get what you're saying.
I'm following along with you.
But here's the thing, right? So colleges were more of a thing, like a rite of passage. You would go there, and then you would exchange ideas. It was more about how to think. That's why you had like Latin and philosophy and subjects like that instead of real specific, like the economics of, whatever. Like there wasn't any of that. It was more making better people.
So now it used to be how to think. Now do you think it's kind of like what to think?
Exactly. How to think was how it was, and now it's what to think. And that's the problem.
Precisely. That's what I think. Because at the end of the day, honestly, I'm going to keep it 100. If you got 100 students that go to a college or a facility, it's no way that those 100 students can be feeling the same thing or thinking the same exact way and having the same exact views verbatim, unless they just like teaching them. It's more even less learning. It's more just indoctrination, like telling you what it is instead of you finding it out for yourself. Life is about discovery, finding the answers on your own. But sometimes there are no answers. Sometimes there's more questions than answers. So at the end of the day, you being a knowledgeable person, you trying to find wisdom and knowledge, you can't just be looking for a force-fed answer from a professor. So I feel that the colleges have been infiltrated.
Sure. Definitely. There's a lot of what to think, and it's created a massive student loan problem. You have a lot of people going to college because all they want is a degree so they can get into the profession that they want to get into because that profession says you need that degree.
And they get the brainwashing as well and the debt, which is crazy. So,
but at the end of the day, the people graduating, they may have a degree in something, a certain something, but guess what? You're getting that on-the-job training anyways from that company once you get on because you don't know anything about that. Correct. That's how it is with law as well. Law is more about how to think than what to think, right? Because let's face it, I'm going to speak from my own experience. I can't speak for everybody's legal experience, but my own experience in law school was that it was teaching you how to think, not what to think, because when you got to whatever area of law that you were going to get into, that's when they would teach you the details of what, not what to think, but what you needed to know. I'm not going to apply 90% of the things I learned in law school. I'm not going to apply in my career. So they always emphasize, this is a grind. The reason why it was so hard, so stressful, and such a stressful situation was preparing you for the next step. College isn't preparing you for anything anymore.
What's your you don't feel like college helped you like with your profession at all, like your law?
Honestly, I feel like my undergrad experience like didn't help me or prepare me in any way whatsoever for my career in law. Not at all. I feel like if I could have just bypassed that whole thing. You being you,
and you looking for the answers, and knowing how to find the answers or knowing how to look for the answers helping you more than. Because nobody's going to tell you, they're not going to put the paintbrush in your hand, grab your wrist, and paint the art. You got to find out for yourself at the end of the day.
Well, look at the society we're in, right? It's not about, no one wants to hear, oh, how do you lose weight? Years, lifestyle change, grinding. No, what do they want? A pill, a magic. You do this for 15 minutes a day. You're going to, everyone wants a quick fix. And you think that just stops with fitness and health, right? No. It's human psychology. So it goes to everything, dating, your money, right? Now it's even more prevalent. So now you have this people don't want to work hard anymore. Just gimme. And guess
life is hard.
There's plenty of people who are willing to give, but with strings attached.
Yeah, the situation we're in, which is actually a part of the inflation issue, which you got to always realize when these people give you a handout or give you something, it's I was looking for the big word to use. Damn, I forgot.
Don't look for me for it because I don't know it.
Damn bad. It comes with when they give you a handout, it's strings attached, so to speak. So like with the what's the stimulus?
Yeah.
Inflation is through the freaking roof.
But weren't they saying that was going to happen?
Yeah, but now they blaming it on Russia. Listen, we watched the news in January, February, before this war happened. We knew inflation was sky high and creeping up. You can't they let people just get so comfortable just getting kicked and just. People got to realize that game is being ran and you gotta speak your mind. Like, that's why we have this forum here. Regardless, whatever happens to the forum or what they want to say, this and that, I'm looking out for my American people.
Yeah.
Speaking my mind. Maybe I'm not right with everything that I say, but guess what? First Amendment, I can speak what I need to speak. And if you don't, your shit is in jeopardy. And you got to realize that, because they taking people off Twitter and Instagram and all of that shit. So
that's a whole nother
that's
conversation.
a whole nother conversation. But I'm saying it's a conversation worth having. It really is, because what's that term? It's a slippery slope.
Well, we're already down the slope.
We already down the slope, sliding like a mother lover. But we got to hold on to something. But, I mean, you feel like with social media and everything, it leads to, like, the depression of our youth and a lot of... I feel
100%.
like depression is like that silent killer that's affecting so much people. It's so crazy. Sometimes you don't even know if you're depressed. You don't even know.
Statistics have shown that obviously depression and suicide rates, drug use rates are rising among teenagers. Mm-hmm. But what's scarier is that in recent years, with the advent of the iPhone, Facebook, TikTok, stuff like that, Instagram, female teenage suicides are rising. That's terrible. More at a much higher rate than males. Because I don't remember when you were growing up and you would hear like, oh, the TV magazines were creating an unattainable image for women, right? An unattainable. You can agree with that. I mean, you had these women that were all doctored and everything, and they look amazing.
Now that's the norm.
It's the norm. Now it's not just some model on a magazine. It's your friend with a filter. They're putting filters to make you look better, right? And that's psychologically,
I'm never good enough because
that's terrible.
She has 200 likes and I have 130.
That's terrible.
So it's a psychological game. I always say it's psychological warfare.
Codie, what product does Facebook sell?
Us, our data.
Our data. But how do they capture that? With human psychology.
Human psychology.
They understand human psychology and validation, the need for validation that people like strive for. And that's why we're addicted to that like button, right? We have that notification on our phone. Ding. Oh, who liked my photo? You're starting to, your whole life. Like
That's true.
I was seeing it. People are taking, like, I'll be at an event, and instead of being there at the event, people are taking a picture and then spending 5 minutes altering this. Oh, is this a good text to put on there? Oh, I want to put this angle, put this emoji on it, whatever, yada yada yada. Oh, I want to put these hashtags. 5 minutes has gone by. You missed the whole event that you were taking a picture. Like,
that's a fact, though.
Here live at UFC, gone. The whole fight's over before the time you posted that, because people don't care anymore about what the president, what they're experiencing.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I got off all social media.
Best thing you ever did in your life.
No idea. Opens up your mind. It doesn't give you stress anymore. People go, oh, did you see this? Nope. Don't care.
Because you living in your world. You know what I mean? We taking on so much other people's baggage, so much crazy ideas, so much information overload. Sometimes you sit down and you just, this person doing this person doing that. What's going on over there? What's going on in India? What's going on in Pakistan? But guess what? If this was 200 years ago, I wouldn't know what's going on over there.
Information overload. That's important.
I would be focusing on me and my own and my goals. So a lot of times we so in tune with everything that's going on that we out of touch with reality.
Well, you talk about being a divine animal.
Yeah.
You think, any animal is capable of taking this much input, this much noise, and being able to process it?
Of course not. Like, bro, I'm at the point where I can't learn too much more difficult things. I have a lot of my brain fighting and different shit, but I can't take on too much more information because I don't have any space. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
You got to
like,
upgrade.
yeah,
$7.99 a month.
That's a
Upgrade your
fact.
gigabytes.
Yeah, 10 gigs, right? Whatever. But I mean, like, it's just so much information on a day to day, and it's like you almost comatose. It's too much information. We don't need to know what's going on thousands of miles away.
No.
Maybe it doesn't really affect us that much. Maybe that shit really don't have anything to do with us. Maybe we need to be focusing on what's going on over here.
Yeah.
And helping our people and securing our borders.
Well, you know, China, you know the whole thing with TikTok, right? And the algorithms.
Let's
and how
get
they're
it.
different between.
Go ahead. Let's get. I be preaching this all the time. I don't even like to preach. I just like to teach. But I be saying this all the time about TikTok. You cannot accept the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
You can't accept the Trojan horse. What we just said, all bets are off. So you accepting the Trojan horse, you letting all types of shit into you letting all types of things that may happen. What if they steal your information?
Back in the day, they used to have to physically drop pamphlets onto like an opposing enemy's populace to try to, like, that psychological warfare that you hear, the propaganda, right?
Yeah.
Tokyo Rose, when, you know, there's a Japanese broadcast broadcasting to American soldiers fighting in the Pacific to try to demoralize them. So you had shit like that. Now we willingly accept propaganda, right? Russian propaganda. They don't even need advanced espionage anymore to destroy us. We're destroying ourselves.
That's a fact.
With the things we created. But, you know, the difference is that our freedom is also our crutch. But because we forgot, you know, the fundamentals and the foundations of what this country was founded on, those ideologies, and we're allowing it to destroy us because we've forgotten that, right? Things like fortitude, perseverance.
They don't teach people to be strong anymore.
No.
They don't teach people to be strong because that's the most thing. That's what you need to equip yourself with in life. You need strength and perseverance because it's easy to quit. It's easy to quit and give up. That's the default option if you don't want to go on, is to quit. So at this point in time, we need to just, and you see as a society, we don't reward strength. When you got a person that's like excelling in their field and doing great,
Yeah.
we tear them down. We tear them down as fast and as viciously as we can. And you can just go across the board with that. If they not talking a certain talk, or they not on a certain agenda and frame, or they not on a certain wavelength, you could just see how they drag them through the mud. You know what I mean? And how they destroy these people's characters. And the media is one of the strongest entities that we have. So I'm going to just say this. Like I said, I don't be preaching. The little shit that I know, I try to teach. So the mainstream media is like disgusting. It's probably the worst shit that we have in America. It's probably lead to majority of the divisiveness between, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So a lot of that have to do with the mainstream media and just drumming up tribal feelings between, you know what I mean?
This versus them mentality.
Yeah, exactly. So that media is a powerful tool, and it's being used against us as far as like the psychological warfare aspect.
Isn't it such a strange concept that, you know, in the United States you have two political parties? It's like you can either go to the left, you can go to the right, and you have to choose your side. There's
now it's
no
far
nuance.
right. Now it's far right and far left. It ain't even I'm a little bit of left. I'm a little. Now it's motherfuckers is far. Joe Rogan smoke weed, but he far right. If you far right, don't you supposed to be like on a horse with a hood?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Bro, this shit is crazy. This is cap.
There's no nuance anymore. You're not allowed to have varying opinions.
Not at all. Oh, you believe this? You're this. You're that. Relax. We human beings. We can reason. But nobody want to speak to each other one-on-one.
No.
I don't know if they don't have the attention span or they just don't want to.
No, it's social pressure, right? Think about it. You're everybody is putting themselves in bubbles, in social bubbles, and then if they start expressing opinions outside of that social bubble, they feel ostracized. So then they start adopting. I've seen it. I've seen people who never held certain opinions, but then all of a sudden, you know, the spotlight's on them. All of a sudden, they're saying it because they have to, right? But then in closed doors, they don't hold those opinions.
You got to be true to yourself, man. This shit is so crazy because, yo, I'm not even going to front. Sometimes I'll be feeling myself swayed a certain way, this way, that way. And I'm like, damn. That's sometimes you just got to turn the noise off and find out who you are as a person. That's why, like, COVID-19, that actually the lockdown, it helped me out a lot because I was able to sit, be alone, and think and say, what is really going on? What's going on? What do I believe? What do I feel?
Yeah.
You know, what's important to me?
Yeah.
Instead of just taking in all of this stimuli that's just screwing up here. Because, yo, whatever you take in through the eyes and through the ears, you take that into you. You know what I mean? So you always want to have good, positive influences. So that's one of the main things where I just realized, like, yo, a lot of this shit is bullshit.
Codie, a lot of people will go on diets and put filters. Don't eat McDonald's. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. But they'll willingly let garbage come into their minds, like you're saying. People have stopped putting filters on their thoughts.
Bro. It really is. It's difficult.
People are not challenged by difficult ideas. Instead, because we've created a weak society, like we were saying at the beginning of this, and because we have a weak society, our children are being taught that if it's strong and difficult, you don't have to deal with it because your feelings matter, and you don't have to be uncomfortable, right? You have the right to be you have the right to be comfortable, and you have the right for other people not to make you uncomfortable. So then you have this thing where you have college campuses where kids are espousing specific ideas that either are being fostered by the faculty or being taught by the faculty, and these kids are holding these ideas dear.
Yeah.
And then when someone challenges those ideas, it's a this versus them mentality, and they're like, no, I can't hear it. They just want to drown you out.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, bro.
They don't want to open up for a conversation. Codie, there was this girl I knew, right? She's a democratic socialist, right? Okay.
I'm bearing with you.
But I didn't like dismiss her or what she said. I wanted to listen to what she said, right? Because obviously she holds those views very near and dear to her heart. And I know her, and she's a great person. Like, we on a personal level speaking, and she's really a great person. She's not evil in any way. She really wants to help people. Right? And the thing is that I want to help people. And then when I espouse my ideas, she doesn't like look at me like I'm a Ku Klux Klansman or anything like that. On a personal level, right? We're able to talk, have a conversation, exchange ideas. And guess what? Find that middle ground.
Exactly.
But that's in a private conversation. Now, you put us in that same conversation in front of other people, changes.
Or the world stage,
well,
Instagram,
changes,
Facebook.
at least, not necessarily me.
Yeah, I mean, this shit is crazy because when we talk, I'm hearing you talking about how they weaken in the society. Bro, like, it seems like I don't understand what that end game is where you have a weak society. What type of, you know what I mean? What's the end game?
I want to, where is it right here? Library. The Coddling of the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff. I think everybody should read that book. Read it, get the podcast. I mean, the audiobook. That's what I have. It's gonna put everything to perspective. It's literally written by two people. One is a First Amendment civil rights attorney, and the other is a psychologist, a cognitive behavioral therapist, right? And cognitive behavioral therapy is all about negative thoughts that people espouse in their minds and training yourself, your behavior, that cognitive, right, in presence, what you're receiving, and that behavior, and saying that, you know, that's not a good feeling. You need to retrain yourself to not have those negative thoughts.
Copy.
But even cognitive behavioral therapy, which is therapy that helps millions of people, and shown statistically to help more people get out of depression, anxiety, whatever other behavioral issues they have. There's no other form of, you know, like talk therapy, right, that is as effective as cognitive behavioral therapy. But even that, even in the psychology fields, that's under attack, because you're not. It's not your truth, right? It's attacking someone's truth.
So if so it's like I feel this way, so I have to feel this way all the time. Is that type of
exactly?
Elaborate a little. Okay.
Exactly. So the whole thing is, I feel this way, so I'm allowed to feel this way because they're my feelings.
So we going backwards.
So you're
basically
validating those.
So we going backwards.
Feelings.
That's what I feel like. Honestly, that's what I feel like. Kinda with I'm gonna call this pseudoscience.
Okay.
This pseudoscience and psychology, they not really getting to the crux and the inner problem. What's wrong with people? They kind of just painting it over and sending them out into the world to self-destruct, because a lot of these problems that people have, instead of really diagnosing the problems or getting in depth into it, they just enable them.
We can't even talk about it.
We can't even talk about them. We can't even speak on them. And we have the First Amendment. But we can't even speak on them. So that's how powerful this is right now. So when I call this pseudoscience and trust the science, you got to realize shit is getting 180'd, where it's like, left is right, right is left, which literally it is.
Yeah.
Literally it is.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Let's speak about journalism, because you were speaking about that, right, in mainstream media. Journalism used to be just a search for the truth, whatever the truth is. But now it's espousing a certain narrative and having a certain opinion and then twisting whatever any news event to conform with that narrative or that opinion. Look how many times throughout this entire pandemic and political things where you weren't allowed to talk about. For instance, this is something that just came out, right? And I don't have any support for any particular candidate or anything. I voted third party for.
Oh, what you mean? You're not a Joe Biden supporter?
Not a Joe Biden supporter, no. But you know, I voted third party, and I'll keep doing it.
Gary Johnson.
Well, Gary Johnson was in the first election.
Okay.
It was Joe Jorgensen for the last one.
Okay.
But
tell them about your party. Tell them about the party that you vote for, which is important. A lot of people they know Democrat, Republican. But tell them about your party.
That's even the problem. So you have the Libertarian Party, but even in the Libertarian Party, it people get stuck into like this party espouses certain views, and you have to keep these views, right? And you can't deviate. It's like, okay, if the Libertarian Party is like, you know, this is our platform and our position, and it's like, oh, if you don't have that same feeling, then you're not libertarian, right? I'm not so libertarian with a lot of my ideologies. So, I think that we should have more structured society, more foundations. Yeah,
because you're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm a libertarian. I believe everything." You're not gonna take on that libertarian hat and put it on as like, "Oh, I'm just a libertarian."
Yeah.
Same way, you're not gonna put on that right wing hat and say, "Oh, I'm a Trump supporter," and or I'm this. We human beings.
Yeah.
And we individuals.
Sure.
Some is good over here, some is good over there. We have to meet in the middle.
So what I was getting at is just recently the New York Times, which you can say is a more left-leaning news article, but very reputable journalists that come out of there. You know, it's not like The Sun or something, like some tabloid, right? Very reputable periodical. And they just came out and confirmed that the Hunter Biden laptop is real. Right? All right.
Repeat that.
Again, like I don't have social media, so I had no idea what was going on.
What's on that laptop?
So my friend told me about this. There was a bunch of things on that laptop. There were sexual photos. There was the whole Ukraine, Joe Biden being the big man and the emails going back and forth and stuff like that. And
they've been talking about that for a long time.
They said, the New York Times just said, like, it's absolutely valid. It is validated. It's real. The things that are on it are real. Like, huge. That's huge news. Because remember, if you recall, 50 experts, right? 50 experts 2 years ago, fake. It's Russian misinformation, right? Then they had that whole goose chase with that person, and then they found out, he was an operative working,
smoking mirrors, smoking mirrors, running around.
How do people get away with lying? They're getting away with lying now. Why aren't we holding them accountable? We should hold everybody. I am not the person to put anybody on a pedestal.
Factory.
I don't care who you are, politicians, no matter who you are, you're not God. You should be held accountable by the people, right? It's we the people.
Truth
together.
And justice for all. So at the end of the day, if you don't have truth and there's no justice, you really can't have a society, so to speak, because what are we based on?
Nothing.
If we built on a better lies, then we doomed. So we always got to hold people accountable for what they do, and that's just. I mean, I'm aware of the Hunter Biden laptop situation, and they've been talking about this for some years, or 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
And now finally, it's officially that's his information and everything.
The New York Post broke that story. If you recall, the New York Post, another. He
went to go get the laptop fixed, right?
What?
He went to go get the laptop fixed.
And he left it there. Well, he smokes crack.
He smokes crack.
So
shit.
The New York,
man.
Don't you remember this? Because this happened right before the election, right? Right before the election, the New York Post came out with this story. And Facebook banned and Twitter banned the New York Post. They banned an entire... It's been around for like 200 years, this newspaper.
That shit is crazy. First Amendment.
And they said Russian misinformation. Well, that's the thing, right? You have like Facebook and you have YouTube. You have these giant corporate conglomerates. And, they'll say, the First Amendment only applies to the government, right? And man, being a lawyer and, learning constitutional law and then, learning... getting into that issue, right? That's what the First Amendment is. It's supposed to protect us from government infringement. That's why,
But not big tech.
Yeah, that's
that
why.
Work for government.
Well, that's why you can, that's why private entities could stifle what people say, right? They can tell their employees that they can't say certain things or you get fired, right? You don't have freedom of speech in that sense.
Do you heard about that podcast? That podcast show that had Donald Trump on the show?
No.
A popular podcast had Donald Trump on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The next day, they took it down. They took down the whole episode. So it's like, you could like Donald Trump, you could hate Donald Trump. Who really cares? But at the end of the day, it's like, when you're trying to wipe people off the face of the earth, what I mean by the face of the earth, I mean like we all living in this matrix, so to speak, with social media and everything, where we always connected, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Now, if you take one person out of that situation that has a big impact, something is amiss. Like all of these dangerous people that's on social media, spreading. You know what I mean? The list goes on.
Yeah.
But to take down this one person.
Yeah.
That's kind of fishy. But this is what I'm saying. If you were an individual, you be an individual first. When you were born, you weren't born on the left.
Yeah.
You wasn't born on the right.
No.
You wasn't born wearing red. You wasn't born wearing blue.
No.
You be an individual and you sit down, you think, and you say to yourself, what's really going on here? Because that's most important.
Yeah.
Besides of what, you know what I mean? What's really going on at the end of the day? Who's lying? Are we getting the truth? Because if they lying to you, they not lying and say, oh, well, we lying for your best interest. Cap. So.
Well, I think Joe Rogan said it best when it comes to speech that you don't like. Don't try to ban that speech. Don't try to cancel that individual. You're supposed to fight bad speech with good speech, right? And that's where you have the exchange of ideas. Like I said, right? If you don't like what Donald Trump is saying, the idea is not to dismiss Donald Trump. It's to rebut what he's saying with facts, with statistics, with smart logical arguments.
Got you.
But see, this is the thing now. The whole thing is now words are violence, right? Now we're in the slippery slope where now words are violence, so that now it's like okay to dismiss or cancel someone because there's this belief that what they're going to say is going to lead to violence. So it's not just talking. It's going to lead to actual violence. And that's where we're getting. But then who judges what words are violent?
That's a fact. I mean, that's a monumental job.
Someone has to be in control.
That's a fact. Someone has to be in control of what's violent speech and what's not, and who can speak and who can't. I mean, at the end of the day, as Americans, as citizens, we have to flex that First Amendment as much as possible and put pressure on the powers that be to just speak our mind. Because if everybody speak their mind, I don't care if you don't believe what I believe in or think the same way I think. Yeah. You be an individual, and you speak your mind, and that's powerful. Because they can't control everybody if everybody's an individual. You know what I'm saying? They only can control us as groups. Sure. That's why they scared. At the end of the day, that's why they scared. But Tali, it's been an amazing talk, my brother. Oh, wow. We got to do this again. Yeah.